Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about myself and my life in China. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with introducing myself. My name is Caitlin Nair and I am from Durban, South Africa. However, I currently live in Guangzhou, China. I'm sure you remember Talen's presentation where she mentioned Guangzhou. I lived in Zhongshan for 3 years prior to moving here. In the year 2015, I started my Bachelor of Education degree through atUnisa, and I majored in English and psychology in the intermediate and senior phase. I graduated in 2019. During those 4 years of studying, I came to the conclusion after thinking about things that I would like to work abroad. So I started looking at my opportunities, I started looking at different countries and the benefits and which country would suit me best. And when I graduated, I started putting those plans and research into motion and started really looking into what I would be doing. So during this search for a job and for an opportunity, I came across a company called OVC and then was introduced to IEC because I mentioned that I would like to teach in China, or that China would be one of my options. And then I was introduced to IEC. When I was introduced to IEC, I was presented with the program that Talen has also explained to you. And for me, being a graduate, not having much money, because obviously I haven't been working, I've just been studying. And if I have been working, it was at a job that didn't pay much and was just enough to get by. So as a fresh graduate, that opportunity seemed like the best thing for me, because the immigration process, if you don't know about it, is really expensive when it comes to flights, all the documentation and everything that goes into moving from one country to another. And then the costs of getting here and also getting your life in order is really expensive. And for me, as I said, as a graduate, and as most of you are also graduates, this opportunity really for me was the best in terms of finance. And so when I was introduced to this program, COVID hit, and then there was a spanner in the works because we couldn't really just get up and leave anymore because of COVID. But that's how our relationship with IEC grew, because we were very unsure about what was going on, and IEC assured us that everything would be okay, and that's exactly what happened. We left South Africa in March 2020 during the height of COVID. And from the time we left South Africa until I can say today, IEC has been super supportive in getting us through everything that China had thrown at us during COVID. And it was a very scary time, obviously, because we didn't exactly know what was going on or what would happen. And we would only know what IEC would tell us and what they would assure us. And it was a very difficult period because of quarantining and teaching online and whatnot. But IEC has been there every step of the way in terms of support and getting us groceries if we weren't able to leave because of quarantine, and a lot of emotional support as well. Also, the training, which was very important, that Talen spoke about as well. IEC offers you comprehensive training, because teaching in South Africa or teaching in any part of the world is not the same as teaching in China. You could have 10 years of teaching experience in South Africa and come to China and not know what to do, because it's totally different. It's a totally different culture. It's a totally different school culture and school system, that this training is so needed. And the fact that IEC offers you this training is extremely important, because many other agents don't offer you training. They just offer you a job, and once you're at the job, you're on your own. And that's where things start to go downhill, when you're not well prepared. So we had extremely comprehensive training, and that helped us, because once we got into the classroom, we weren't just like standing there not knowing what to do. We had some training, we practiced, we did demos, we did whatever we needed to do, and we got through those first few months of teaching in China. So I worked with IEC through the program for 6 months, and after that, I started to work on a contract basis. I recently ended my contract with the school that I initially came to 3 years ago. And although I ended my contract with IEC and their program, IEC still offered me support up until today, getting me a new job, helping me move to a new city, and those are things they really didn't have to do. Like, once our program ended, that could have meant that our relationship had ended, but IEC, being the company that they are, helped me get a new job, helped me settle in, and continuous support. So when Talen talks about like life support and continuous support, those things are highly needed in a country where you don't know the language, you don't know the people, you don't know how things are supposed to be, and you definitely need support. And a company that's offering you support is a company that should be looked at. So that's my relationship with IEC. Even though I'm not part of the program anymore, I've completed my 6 months or whatever. I think now it's 10 months. It initially was 6 months. I suppose a longer period exposes you to more. And now that I've moved on my own, I really have to look back and thank IEC for their support, because if you notice in Talent's program where they tell you that they pay for your rent and stuff, you don't realize how much that is until you're on your own and you have to do it on your own. And that's when I thought to myself, wow, I'm so grateful for IEC in the beginning when I was just a graduate and didn't have anything. I would not have had the money to just put up 2 months rent and a deposit, and to just pay for moving fees and all of these things. So it's only now that I really appreciate that was done for me back 3 years ago. And so that brings me to my point now, talking about my life in China. For me, life in China has been a blast. It has been great. Granted, every country you move to, there's going to be some sort of culture shock. There's going to be some things where you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what's going on here. This is not how we do it back home. And that's part of the experience. Culture shock is part of the experience, and you have to be willing to accept that when moving to a foreign country, any foreign country, not just China. So as much as I can say it's been a blast, there have been some ups and downs, but with a good support system, good friends, and IEC, those things are easier to overcome. So right now, life has been good. I just returned from South Africa after a 2-week vacation, after not seeing my family and friends for 3 years because of the borders being closed. I finally got to see my family, and South Africa is a beautiful country. It's my home, but I have a new home, and I was just waiting to come back to China because this is my new home. And I, at this point, would like to agree with what Talen said about life in China being convenient and safe, especially as a young woman. To live in a country where you don't have to lock your doors, where you're free to walk on the street at any part of the night, and to know that you are safe is really important. Because as women, as you know, in South Africa, we're battling gender-based violence, and to know that things like that are not happening in China, where you can live freely, walk on the street freely, not be harassed. So for me, that was very important. Also, it's a good financial opportunity, because speaking English and coming from a native speaking country like South Africa in itself is a skill, and you get paid for that skill because you have something that this country doesn't have, and they're willing to pay you for that. So it's a very good financial opportunity and a very good opportunity to save and to start getting your life on the right track. So even if you want to use China as a stepping stone, it's a great stepping stone because it's a good opportunity to save a lot of money. If you live well, the cost of living in China is extremely low if you know how to manage your money, and you have every opportunity to save for the next opportunity. If you're not happy, or if you feel like you want to move on to something new, I feel like China is a good stepping stone for that. So right now I'm just enjoying my vacation in China. I have the money to do so because I'm being paid well, and I just moved into my new apartment, and I will start work in 2 weeks as the new semester starts on the 1st of September. So that's all from me. I hope this video was informative enough, and I hope that young graduates look at this opportunity as a stepping stone, because you can't just jump into something and expect to earn the maximum amount of money and expect to just be at the top, because in China it doesn't work like that. You need to have some sort of experience and skills and money to make it and to start off. So if there is a company that is offering you such an opportunity as IEC is offering this opportunity, then you should grab it with both hands, because it's not going to come by easily, and it's difficult to immigrate to countries now because of COVID. And after COVID, countries have started becoming more and more restrictive. So as graduates, I think that any opportunity like this should be one that you should consider. And there's a lot of research that you can do into the country, and I feel like Talen really answered a lot of questions during her presentation, as well as during the Q&A session, where you guys asked a lot of questions and she answered them very well. And I hope this video also helps you. And if you have any more questions for IEC or me, you can contact Talen, and she can put you into contact with me, and I can answer any other questions that you feel I have not answered for you today. I really hope that this video was informative, and I hope to see some of you in China, in Zhongshan, very, very soon. Thank you.